Hey, good morning, everybody. Hey, welcome to another episode of Adventures with Janis, the party bus. Um, it's Tuesday morning here in Alabama. It's starting to get cold. Today's temperatures are going to get up around mid 50s. So old man winter is right around the corner. So I'm trying to get as many projects on this bus as done as possible. So let me get you caught up with where I'm at. So I've actually made it to the front of the bus. I have started pulling the brakes off, start to redo the wheel bearings and the seals on the front and getting it all cleaned up, to put rust protectant on it and also some undercoating on it on places that need it. I've started on the driver's side first and pulled the backing plate off with the brake cylinders and the brake pads. The wheel cylinders are still good, so I'm gonna leave those on there until they fail. Then I'll put new ones on there. Put new brake pads on it and cleaned it up. Cleaned the backing plate up. So now I'm just waiting on some parts to come in, the inner wheel seals to come in, and wheel bearings. So this side here I've cleaned up pretty much all the dirt and grime off of it that I could. I pressure washed it last week up underneath it. I mean, this thing was filthy with mud. And if you don't get that mud off of there, it's going to stay in there. It's going to keep moisture, and it's just going to start rotting everything out. So pressure washed everything. Got some wire brushes. Got on the rust as best I could. So I'm going to put some of that rust inhibitor on here. Another coat. I've already put one coat, but I'm going to put another coat. Then I'm going to paint it with that undercoating. That's black. Then I'm going to paint it with black. Now the ball joints are going to have to be replaced, but I'm probably going to take those over to Dave Automotive. David Powell, a good friend of mine, went to school with. He owns a shop in Montgomery. Does a lot of work on bugs and VWs, and have him change out them ball bearings. So that's where we're at on the front. Also, while I'm waiting on parts, I had an issue with the front tires and wheels, getting them off the bus. So what I did was, I took the wheel off with the drum still intact because I couldn't get the lug nuts broke loose. And I mean, I put an impact wrench on it, they wouldn't budge. So I took it over there to David to see if he could get them loose, because he hit me on the rear wheel one time before, and of course they got them loose. So here's what the deal is. If you have old VW and you can't get the lug nuts broke free, so try this trick. If you got these type of wheels that's got a bevel to it, like this right here, and this lug nut has got a bevel to it that sits down in there like that. So over time, this lug nut is going to actually rust to this rim here. And I don't care if you got an impact wrench or whatever, it's not going to come loose. I sprayed that PB blaster on it day after day after day for like 3 days straight. It didn't even help. So what David told me to do next time was, if you get you a hammer, one like this or one bigger, and hit the head of this thing, just beat the crap out of it, which he did the other day. He beat the crap out of these things. What it does, it breaks that rust loose from this lug nut, and then you can get it free. So yeah, so if you got that problem with your bug or your bus, hey, just get your hammer and beat the crap out of this thing. And he says that sometimes the ends will round off when you're hitting it. He said, don't worry about it. He said, because whenever you put that impact wrench in on it or whatever, it's going to straighten it all back up. Okay, so yeah, so he got it off and all is well. I've put new shocks on both sides, taking those off and put new ones in. I've actually cleaned all this up. They were just full of nasty mud and everything, kind of hard to see, but kind of like that right there. That is just where they sprayed the undercoating, the last people that did, and they didn't wash the bottom where they were riding in the mud or whatever. It left a muddy residue on everything. So I pressure washed it a week or two ago, and I had to clean all this off here. Got it down the best I could with wire brushes, and I put some rust encapsulator on it, and then I sprayed it with undercoating. And I still got some places I gotta hit, like back here and right there. But I did the whole underneath from the front to the back, hitting little surface rust areas with a wire brush and a wire wheel that I had on my drill. And I have sprayed rust and encapsulator on it, and then I painted over that with a undercoating that will help keep it from rusting and rust growing anymore. So I got this done on both sides. So next, what I'm going to do is do the ball bearings and the seals on the front drums, and then I have replaced the brake pads on the front backing plate. Got those put on both sides, so I'll put those on, and then I'll do the drum and replacing the wheel bearings and the seals on that. I got those in yesterday, so also I got to put new hose lines on the front. I'll put them on today. Get you caught up now. We've got the backing plate with the new shoes on it, brake shoes on, back on. We put a new brake line in. When you put the brake line on, this end going into the backing plate, going into the wheel cylinder, needs to go on first. And then I had to cut a piece of tubing to go in this little housing. If I can get my finger right here, to go inside that little housing right there to protect that hose. So I'm gonna have to do the same thing to the other side, and we got it all connected there. And now we are putting new wheel bearings in the drum. These are what came out of it. As you can see, they are toast. So, and I also remembered to take the ring out, so I wouldn't be beating on it here like I did the real one. So now what we're going to do is we're going to get ready to put this seal in, grease it up real good, and then we're going to put the outer bearing in on the other side. And I'll show you what it looks like when I get done. All right, we just put the seal in. It was almost as easy enough as just pushing it in, but we used the old rubber mallet here to seat it on in, and then we greased the crap out of it, because you want that to be real nice and lubed in there whenever you put it back on. All right, now we're going to do the outer wheel bearing, and then we'll be ready to put it on. All right, we got it greased up, ready to seat I'm going to use my bearing race and seal driver set. This right here. We'll put that on top of there, and then we'll drive her in, and then should be done. All right, we got the brakes and the backing plate on the driver's side. New brake line coming in, and coming in right there. Now this side over here has got the speedometer cable coming through it, and this bearing clamp nut right here actually screws on the opposite way, so it's a lefty tighty, righty loosey. So all right, we got the first one on. So after we put the bearings in, there is a washer. I don't know if you can see it right there. That's got to go on. It's got a slot or a piece made into it, and there's a slot in the spindle here that it slides onto. And then this right here is your bearing. I think they call it the bearing locking clamp. So the first thing you have to do is you have to tighten this thing all the way up, so that way you know the bearings are seated properly. And then the book says to, if I get my fingers out of the way, then the book says that to back off of it at 0.005, and that's just a little bit, to give a little bit of play. And people think, well, you know, that's going to give you play, that's going to give you a bad ride, you know, it's going to wobble. But that's how the Germans engineered it, so they said that's correct. So now there's a Allen head bolt right here that we're going to tighten up, and then there is a grease cap that goes on here that I need to clean up, and then we have to pack it full of grease and then stick it on here, and then this side right here will be done. Alright, so I'm going to tighten that screw up, and then I'll show you the cap. I'll go ahead and show you that. So here's the cap. It's supposed to have grease down in there, which this one right here doesn't have hardly any grease in it. This thing should be packed with grease. I need to clean it up because it's all gross on the outside, so I'll do that. All right, so right here you see these three lines, brake lines. The one in the middle comes from the master cylinder, and then the other two go off to the front wheel cylinders or the brake system, and they're connected with a T. So after I raised the front end up, I was not getting any brake fluid to the front wheels. So I took the T apart, and I didn't have any oil or any brake fluid in it. So that tells me that either that middle line is stopped up or the master cylinder is bad. So, and let me show you the master cylinder real quick. So this here's the master cylinder. This line right here, that goes to the rear brakes, and then this here goes to the front brake. So whenever I had it jacked up, I was getting brake fluid to the rear because I had a big puddle on both sides, and I still had plenty of brake fluid in the reservoir, so I filled it back up, but I could never get any brake fluid to the front. So with it jacked up, and this would be the bottom, you would think that it would fill up, and then as it fills up, it go back up here to the rear. So either one of two things is either the master cylinder is bad or that brake line right there is stopped up. So yeah. Anyway,
I'm not getting brake fluid to the front. So let me get out from underneath this thing and I'll tell you what my solution is going to be. So.
Okay, so there you have it. That's the issue with the front brakes not getting brake fluid. I finally got brake fluid to the rear brakes. I just can't get it to the front now. So here's what my solution is for taking care of this. Is we are going to replace the front drums and the master cylinder with a no hassle disc brake conversion kit that's sold by Southern California Imports in California, and it's a I think it's a ARC in Industries conversion kit for this 1970 bus. So it comes with the disc, the new master cylinder, and everything that I need to put it on. So I've already got it ordered. I'm just waiting for it to come in, and it being Thanksgiving, it probably won't be until later next week or the week after. Just depends on when they start to get back in there and getting stuff out. So that's what that's what my solution is going to be. I think it's going to be a safer ride then, because with the disc brakes, it's going to give us a bit more braking power. And I'm going to feel better with the disc brakes on it than versus the drums. Yes, I've spent money on brake lines and brake shoes for the front and all that stuff, but that's just part of it. I still keep that just in case something happens to these disc brakes in the front and I have to go back to the drums. I still can, even with the master cylinder that I'm getting with this kit. So yeah, that's our situation right now with the bus, and that's going to be my best and easiest solution and to getting this thing back on the road. So that's it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in, and again, hey, if you like the videos, hey, give us a big thumbs up. If you got any comments or anything, hey, leave them in the comment section below. And remember, my disclaimer is I'm not a mechanic. Everything that I learned about this bus, I learned it off YouTube or in these manuals over here that I've got a stack of them, doing the manuals, talking to people on Facebook and talking to these people that work at these these Volkswagen parts places. And the biggest resource I have is David Powell over at Powell Automotives in Montgomery. He's a big VW guy, and when I got questions, I can go to him and ask him what he thinks or how I need to take care of it. So yeah, I'm not a mechanic, so please be nice in your comments below and tell me I need to do this, I need to do that. Hey, I take all your comments fine and dandy. But yeah, my disclaimer is I'm not a mechanic, and I'm not doing this to tell you how to do it. I'm just letting you see how I did it. And maybe you can get some ideas in fixing your bus or bug or whatever you got, and getting it on the road. So, all right. So that does it for this episode. Continue watching. Hey, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, and then we'll see you on the next one. As they say in the V-Dub world, hey, V-Dub life, peace, and drive them if you got them, and see you on the next one. Hey, Kelly and I would like to thank you for tuning in to this episode of Adventures with Janis. If you'd like to keep up with our adventure, make sure you click that subscribe button and click that bell for notifications of when we post new videos. Also, if you like the content, hey, give us a big thumbs up, and you can always leave us comments in the comment section below. We'd love to hear from you. So thanks for tuning in to this episode of Adventures with Janis. And remember, like we say in the V-Dub world, drive them if you got them. Peace and V-Dub life.